Good morning, Queen. Today, let's talk about the nuts and bolts of actually moving from one country to another. The actual steps you need to take to go from the United States through Mexico and into Belize.
Hello, I'm Chad,
And I'm Grace.
and this is our dog Queen.
And together we are
Two gringos and a dingo.
Belize.
We've trimmed down our property to something we can manage getting through, but we still have to go through two sets of borders.
That is correct.
And you have to deal with 3 different countries.
That is correct.
Yeah. So this is something you did mostly. So I'll be asking you, hey, how did we do this?
Okay.
And I have to remind people that you're not an attorney, and so we're not giving legal advice. I am an attorney, but this is not my field.
Right.
And so all we're trying to do is be helpful on where you look for products,
Right.
where you look for information,
Right.
and the types of information you have to find, but we're not trying to give legal advice.
No. And what worked for us may not work for you. This is the process that we went through. If it's helpful, that's great.
So let's start with what documents were we told we had to have for immigration, for ourselves?
So for ourselves, there's lots of documents you need. I did a lot of research. One of the most helpful websites, and I'll put all the website links in the description for you, was a Facebook page called On the Road in Mexico. And the people that have done this, they list what all steps you need to take. So look at that resource. Of course, you need a passport. You need additional ID, such as our Texas driver's license was the supplemental. They suggest that you have your birth certificate, original copies as well as copies, our marriage certificate to prove that we were married, legally married. And we needed to have special types of forms for Mexico versus Belize. For instance, in Mexico, we have to have a form that was called a FMM, and that was basically for us to migrate through Mexico. For the dog, you do need to have a international health certificate. So you need to have that done by your vet. And
Can just any vet do that?
no, not any vet can do that. So I had, my dog had gone to the same vet for several years, but only particular vets have the credentials in order to issue a international health certificate. So in our case, we had to wait several days for the particular vet who could do that to make an appointment and to see them. Well, we're in the car. Queen is on her way to get her international health certificate. She's whining because she wants the car to go. You ready to go? Yeah, just go to the vet. We go get your health certificate. Good girl. When you get that for your dog, it's good for 30 days, the international health certificate says. However, Belize says you have to have that within 14 days of arrival into Belize. So you have to look at whatever country you're going to. In our case, it was Belize, and Belize said, nope, it's going to be 14 days, not 30 days. So we had to time that just right.
Now, where did you find that information for Belize? Because most people would just read the certificate itself and say, okay, I'm good.
I went to BAHA, which stands for the Belize Agricultural Health Administration, I think. But I'll put the link to that website as well. And they list what you need and what they require. So on their website, it did list 14 days for that International Health Certificate. I did email Baja to ask a question just to clarify, and they were very good about getting back with me in a very timely manner and answered all my questions. So I'll put the link for their email in for you as well.
Because we were planning for an 8-day trip.
We were.
Because some of it visiting family in Texas and some of it getting to the border and then 4 or 5 days going through Mexico.
Right.
So in the best case scenario, the 14 days was pretty tight.
Right.
And that's assuming you can get it just before you leave, and you can't always.
Correct.
Because you have to get to the vet when the vet's available too.
Correct. And one of the our delays was our truck. So not only do we have to worry about the humans and what they need, the dog, what she needed, we now have to think about what the truck needed.
So this is where we're talking about the third government. Because, you'd think I'm going to go to Belize, of course you've got to deal with the Belize government.
Right.
You think you're going to go through Mexico, of course you've got to deal with the Mexican government to,
Right.
to get through Mexico properly. The U.S. government, we're not running from anything, so
No.
it seemed like that would not be much of an issue. But the DMV is the DMV.
It is, and so you have to have an original title to your vehicle if you're going to be bringing a vehicle through Mexico and into Belize. So I did not have a copy of the original title since I had just paid off my truck, and that was in the mail, and they said 4 to 6 weeks. So I went to the DMV in person to try to speed that process up. So we did get it in time, but that was the hiccup that caused us to miss our 14-day window. So.
Yeah. And you had an interesting conversation with the DMV when you went to pick it up, because they said, oh yeah, it's in our system.
Yes.
And we have everything we need, but it has to sit here for 2 weeks before we can give it to you.
Right. There was a rule about 15 days. She says, yes, I see. It's been papered. We have the title. You have clear title to it. I said, I need a copy. She said, I'm sorry, it's 15 days. I said, I need it now. She said, I'm sorry, it's 15 days. That's a rule. So we had to wait 15 days to get that copy.
In Texas, the DMV will do that at a number of different locations, but not just any DMV.
That's correct. It's only one DMV. You can only get it at the original DMV, and each major town has one. So there's one in Houston, one in Austin, one in Dallas, one in Corpus Christi, so you have to go to that particular location.
Aside from getting the original title and your paperwork, we also had to arrange insurance.
Yes. If you travel through Mexico, you must have insurance to travel through Mexico. Your United States car insurance is not going to cover you. And so you need to get an insurance policy that's going to cover your trip. I was estimating our drive through Mexico to be 4 days, 5 days, maybe. I went ahead and got a 9-day policy because you don't know what's going to happen if you get delayed or something happens, a breakdown or whatever. So I got a 9-day policy, and you can get that online. There are many insurance companies that you can get that through. Again, very helpful. On the Road to Mexico Facebook page had a lot of people that had good advice about that. Another document that is required traveling through Mexico is called the Temporary Import Permit, or TIP. To get a tip, you must put a deposit down. It can be cash or by credit card, and the amount depends upon the age of your vehicle. When you're about to cross the border out of Mexico, you want to stop and get your tip money back. You will get back the same form. If you paid cash, you'll get cash. If you paid by credit card, you will get a refund on your credit card in 7 to 10 days. So you need to get Belize insurance once you get to the Belize border. So the Mexican insurance was for 9 days, and as soon as we got to the Belize border, we purchased the policy. You only have one choice. They only give you one choice, one company. You can do it for 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. And then you're good. And you must have your insurance with you at all times in Belize. That is a requirement. They take it very seriously if you cannot prove you have car insurance.
Yeah, my understanding is if you don't have it, they'll put you in jail on the spot.
That is my understanding, is you
Yep.
don't get ticketed, you get taken to jail. So have the sticker on your windshield, have the piece of paper in your glove box.
But the stops in Belize are routine.
Yes.
They're just police checkpoints, and all they're doing is checking your papers. So title to the car, registration of your car in Belize,
Right,
insurance for your car,
right.
and your driver's license.
Correct.
And any of those missing, and you're liable to visit a part of Belize you don't want to visit.
That is correct.
Okay.
So we had 14 days to get the truck registered in the country.
So when we went in to get that registration done, they were out of plates.
So we
And
have to go back. We will get the physical license plate when they get in. And future videos, we'll show you that process where you go to get that, and a little bit about, more about the everyday living in Belize.
This is just a reminder for anybody that's thinking about making a trip like this, is it's not just loading up your car and moving.
Right.
It is preparing for it, because you could get turned around at any of these places
Right.
and have to start over. And sometimes when you're starting over with a 2-week delay, like to get our title.
Right.
So we had everything planned out without believing that we were going to have to wait 2 extra weeks for the title. And we spent 2 weeks in a hotel because of it.
True. So anyway, even, just do your research, do the best you can, plan as much as you can, but know that there's going to be some hiccups along the way. And we viewed that as part of the adventure, and didn't let it spoil our enthusiasm for our process that we're going through. So stay tuned, and our next videos will talk about the details of us actually driving through Mexico and many of those adventures.
All right.
Thanks for watching, and remember to follow us on Facebook and to look at our blog, Two Gringos and a Dingo, on WordPress.